An unpaid carer is anyone who looks after someone who is older, ill, or disabled. By the time you reach 50, you have a 50-50 chance of becoming a carer. There are 5.7 million carers in the UK, could be as high as 10.6 million. Carers contribute £162 billion to the UK economy.
Hi, and welcome everybody, and we hope you enjoy this podcast called On the Tip of My Tongue. Now, I'm Rob Edwards.
And I'm Jonathan Hirons.
And this podcast is a follow-up to a film which Jonathan made about aphasia. So, what is aphasia? Well, it's a condition caused by some kind of injury to the brain, which is often, could be a stroke, or could be just falling off a bike. And it affects your ability to use language in all its forms. Speaking, writing, reading, sending text, whatever. 350,000 people in the UK suffer from a debilitating condition called aphasia. Fewer than half this number suffer from Parkinson's, and yet most people have heard of Parkinson's, whilst almost nobody has heard of aphasia. You're listening to On the Tip of My Tongue, a podcast dedicated to raising awareness about aphasia. If you're enjoying the podcast and finding it helpful, please subscribe to it by clicking on the Support the Show link in the description. Thank you.
I think we should talk about carers or caring. And one of the people we're going to talk to is Michael Shann.
Hello there, Jonathan. Great to meet you. And so my name is Michael Shann, and I'm the Head of Carer Support at Carers UK. I've been with the charity for about 12 and a half years now, and I have to say it's probably the most rewarding job I've done in my career. I've worked for a couple of other charities and started my career in the NHS as well. But when I started work at Carers UK, my dad had just died, and it was only during the interview that I had for the job that I realised that my dad's wife had been caring for him for the last 2 years, and I'd been a distance carer and going up to Yorkshire every couple of weeks, and so it kind of made me realise that I didn't know that much about caring. I hadn't been that aware of carers in my family and in wider society. And I think maybe it's partly that connection that through a recent experience of caring when I joined the charity that's kept me here. But also it's a fantastic staff team, and I've just loved working with so many inspirational carers over the last 12 years as members and volunteers with Carers UK as well.
You're front line, aren't you? We've had discussions about the policy side of things, but obviously you're managing the actual caring side of it. Perhaps you could tell me a little bit more about your work day to day.
I work within the Carer Services department at Carers UK. Well, Carers UK's vision is for a society that recognises, values and supports carers. And our mission is to make life better for carers. And that's very much about what we do day to day in trying to make life better for carers, to try and support them through what for many people can be a really tough journey. So within our department, we have a helpline where carers can contact us by email or telephone to get tailored advice on their caring situation. We support working carers. We have digital solutions for supporting people in their caring journeys as well, such as we have an online, a mobile phone app called Jointly. And then within our team, we run online meetups on Zoom every week. We have around 3 sessions a week. So we have what we call Care for a Cuppa sessions, where carers come together from right across the country to share how they're feeling, share any challenges they may be facing in their caring roles, and to support each other. And it's a really friendly and supportive group. And we've been going for 4 years now, since the start of the pandemic. And then we also have share and learn sessions where we may have some of our helpline advisors will join us to talk about benefits and carers' rights, and to answer people's questions about their caring situations as well. We also, within our team, we have staff who continually update our website, carersuk.org, with lots of information on benefits, carers' rights, other ways that people can access support. Recognizing that Carers UK doesn't have all the answers as well. There are lots of local carers organisations as well, and people can find out about those. We have a local directory on our website as well. And then within the team that I manage, so we support our members and volunteers. So we have 50,000 members at Carers UK, and our membership is growing by about 100 to 500 plus every month, which is fantastic. When members join Carers UK, so joining is free. It only takes a couple of minutes through the website, or you can contact us if you don't have access to online access to our website. And when you join Carers UK, so you receive monthly emails from us, our quarterly caring magazine, access to our online forum, Carers Connect. You'll also get invites to events we run. So we run events throughout the country, what we call roadshow events. We also have an annual members conference as well, which we held in March this year. Our first hybrid event we did this year, which was our highest ever attended members conference. So we had about just under 100 people joining in person and around 50 joining online as well. We then have quite a lot of our members. Lots of carers have said that they join Carers UK to access support for themselves in their caring situations, and they stay to help others, often to help others go through some of the struggles that they've gone through themselves. So we talk often about our membership being a supportive community and a movement for change. People may get involved in supporting our campaigns, such as around reform of carers allowance, taking part in research as well. Lots of members will also apply to undertake some of our volunteering opportunities as well. So we have around 10 volunteer roles to suit everyone's time availability and skills and preferences. So we have lots of community-based roles of raising awareness of caring in local communities, online roles as well, and also recognising that lots of carers are working as well, juggling work and care. So raising awareness in workplaces. And we also have our head offices in London, in just near London Bridge, and we have some office-based roles as well.
Obviously, as you know, I have aphasia, and I'm talking about drop-in groups in the aphasia charities. It's a very similar situation, really, because they help each other. So they've got people that run the groups that have aphasia themselves. So there's a kind of symmetry, I suppose, between being helped and being. But so the caring situation, I suppose, is what as you say, we're talking about your situation. It seems very similar in the approach.
That peer support is vital, really. And we've run, since the start of the pandemic, we've run nearly around 800 sessions now. And we found that, I did think when the pandemic restrictions were lifted, would numbers dip when people were able to get out more. But I think we've found that for many carers will find it difficult to get out to meetings in their local communities if they're looking after someone. But the online sessions really suit people in that they're able to keep an eye on the person they're looking after and join a session. And also I think we've found the fact that they've got to know people from across the country quite well but also they know they're not going to bump into them in the supermarket as well.
It's probably a good thing.
Yes. I think we've found that people are maybe more likely to open up. People often get emotional, particularly when they first join the sessions. Often it can be the first time they've met other carers and talked about the challenges and pressures they're under, and that can be quite, that release of having struggled along by themselves for a long time in many cases.
The aphasia people have the same situation, feel the same. They think when they come to the session, for the first time, they say, "Oh, I thought it was just me," but actually there's loads of other people exactly the same situation. And it gives them support and it gives them confidence to carry on and do things that maybe they wouldn't do if there wasn't an organisation behind them. One question that does come to mind is, how do people find you? I know, obviously, you've just told me that you've got quite a lot of stuff on the websites and so on and so forth, but not has access to that sort of thing, or maybe the capacity to do the research. So if I ended up in this situation, I didn't know about you, how would I find you?
Well, I'd recommend to start with to have a look at our website, so carersuk.org. It's a fairly new website as well, so it is quite easy to navigate, to find the information you're looking for. I would really recommend joining one of our Care for a Cuppa sessions as well, which are held every week. We also hold a couple of 1 or 2 evening sessions a month as well for carers who'd find it difficult to join in the day. We often talk last night's Care for a Cuppa session, for example, we had lots of our regulars. Some have been caring for decades, one for over 50 years. Gosh. And we had someone joining who had been caring for his mother for less than a month. And so was very new to it. And the others were all really supportive. We talked about carers assessments and encouraging people to contact their local authority about getting a carers assessment to see what support may be available locally. If people contact the helpline I mentioned earlier, they can get a benefits check as well to see what they might be entitled to as well.
Right.
We have got a new series on Carers UK's website of short animations as well, which just give a short summary of, say, carers allowance, or as I say, there's about 14 of those, and they just give a little snapshot that might be easier to digest. A whole lot of information about.
Well, I suppose this is the time when we talk about what's going on in the news at the moment. But it's such a complicated system anyway, as I understand. And I know a little about this because my mother-in-law is in this system. We have carers going in for her, and we know what you have to. I think there are hoops you have to go through to even get your package sorted out. I like to think we're fairly good at working these things out, but not everybody does know how to do these things. And it's an incredibly complicated and a long-winded system, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We do also have, for people who may not be online, we do have a fairly new service where we have information available by telephone as well.
Right. Yeah. In the news as we speak today, there's quite a lot of fuss about the system for the DWP system is so dense.
Yeah, there's been so much news coverage the last couple of months of the carers allowance overpayments, which has affected many thousands of carers.
It's a shocking number, isn't it?
It is. Some carers, through no fault of their own, really, have just gone over the earnings limit and have accumulated debts of thousands of pounds, which the DWP is now asking them to return. Some people have had to sell their houses as well.
I was reading a bit this morning, and it says if they've gone over the allowance by a year, say, you don't, and it's £1, they don't ask for £52. They ask for the whole lot. which
Yes,
in the
exactly.
case I was reading, it was something like £4,500 or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. And with the general election coming up later this year, so Carers UK have just released our manifesto for carers. So what we're asking the new Prime Minister to implement to support carers, and one of those is around reform of social care, but also reform of the carers allowance
right.
benefits, as well as increasing the
Yeah,
benefit of
yeah.
reform of the whole system around carers allowance.
Well, the only other thing I wanted to talk about is the future. You sound as though, as an organisation, you're moving forward. Do you have any new plans that you can talk about anyway that you have in the future to make your offer, should we say, even better? It sounds
Right.
brilliant already, but is there anything that can be done apart from what we've talked about? Anything that could be done better to help people?
I spoke earlier about our vision for a society that recognises, values, and supports carers, which I mentioned I'd worked for another couple of charities, which can sometimes have visions that you feel will never be achievable, whereas it feels that vision of a society that recognises, values, and supports carers should be achievable within our lifetimes. It should be achievable, within the next 20 years, really. But
Right.
when you speak with carers, they often say we're nowhere near that.
Right.
They don't feel recognised, they don't feel valued,
Yeah.
and don't
Yeah.
feel supported. So next year is Carers UK's 60th anniversary. We were set up as a charity in 1965, so it'll be celebrating
Right.
60 years. So there'll be lots
Okay.
of events and activities taking place
Right.
throughout the year to raise awareness of caring even more than we usually do. We're aiming to reach 60,000 members by the end of our 60th anniversary year.
How do we stack up against other countries? Have you got any thoughts about that in Europe, say?
It's interesting when we do sometimes have visits from carers organisations from other countries. When you hear the perspective of carers, the challenges facing carers in across the world are very similar. We had a recent visit from a carers organisation in Canada. Last year we had a visit from a carers organisation in Taiwan, and the challenges facing carers are quite similar. The ways that governments and other organisations support carers can vary quite widely. There's an interesting book that came out last year by Emily Kenway called Who Cares? And she does quite a lot of an analysis of how different countries support carers. And so, yes, there are some countries where I think carers are better recognised, better valued, and better supported.
We all need to do better, basically.
Yeah, we do. We do. Well, there's so much more that can be done.
Can be done.
We're doing all we can to to raise awareness, to influence ministers and policymakers to bring about concrete change to improve support for carers. So an unpaid carer is anyone who looks after someone who is older, ill, or disabled. And we know that caring can happen to anyone at any time. And our research shows that by the time you reach 50, you have a 50-50 chance of becoming a carer.
Right.
So most of us will become carers at some point in our lifetimes. The recent census in 2021 found that there are 5.7 million carers in the UK. But research done for Carers Week found that figure could be significantly higher, could be as high as 10.6 million. So, yes, a huge issue for our society. And Carers UK's research has found that carers contribute £162 billion to the UK economy. So if the state had to step in and do all that the 5.7 million carers do in looking after
they do themselves,
then that would cost 162 billion, which is nearly the cost of a second NHS. So that just shows how, what contribution carers make to society. And in terms of what carers do, so carers provide emotional support. They might undertake household tasks like cleaning and shopping, and they might help people with healthcare appointments, managing finances and life admin.
Right.
Might help with personal care, such as washing and getting dressed, help with ordering and collecting and giving medication, and just helping people to move around and keep safe, really, as well. But through doing that, we know that caring can be really exhausting. It can often lead to carers feeling burnt out. Affects their physical and mental health. Our research from our annual State of Caring survey, for example, found that 27% of carers have bad or very bad mental health, and that of those, 84% of them feel they have a continuous low mood. We also know that caring can lead people to giving up their jobs. It can result in them being in financial difficulties as well. And our State of Caring research last year found that carers were struggling more than in previous years with their finances. Higher proportion were struggling to make ends meet. And 75% of carers receiving carers allowance were struggling with cost of living pressures.
The people who are not being paid to do this are doing for their loved ones, maybe not their loved ones, but for some, but for their families, or even not even their families. It's a sobering thought. The information you've given us is fantastic. I think that's great, Michael. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming onto the pod. Really interesting. As ever, one doesn't know half of it, So it's been very helpful. And thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to this On the Tip of My Tongue podcast. We hope you found it helpful and informative. Now, if you want more help and information about strokes and aphasia, please go to stroke.org.uk, say aphasia, that's SAY, aphasia, all one word, .org, or the aphasia page of nhs.uk. That was On the Tip of My Tongue, the podcast dedicated to raising awareness about aphasia. To listen to more episodes, click on Support the Show in the description. This has been a Buffalo Lounge production. Please follow Buffalo Lounge on all the socials.